Thank you, Crystal. Appreciate it.
We are now convening the police committee for the city of Philomath. It is Tuesday, May 19th at 3 o'clock. It's actually 3:02 at this time. Would each person, starting with Brent, please say your name for roll call?
Brent Caseman.
David Gursky.
Rich Salza.
And Diane Crocker. I don't believe there's any public comments because there's no public here. I don't see anything online. So the next thing we need to do is approve the minutes for February 10th. That was our last meeting.
I move to approve the minutes of the February 10th, 2026 Police Committee meeting. Second.
It's been moved and seconded by Counselor Salsa and Counselor Caseman. We will now vote, I guess. Everybody that wants to approve that, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's been done unanimous. All right. And since our next business isn't ready yet, I would like to just mention that I've been talking, I had a coffee with the council last Saturday, and then I've been talking to some citizens. They were concerned about the $14 fee. And when they found out that it would support police, 50% of it, they were in favor of it, where they weren't before. And so that was a big, I think you've got great support from your community. In fact, one guy wants all of his money to go to the police, and somebody else said they wanted all their money to go to the parks, and I'm not sure we're going to break it up that way. But the average is still there. Anyway, but very good support, and I was pleased to hear that.
Nice feedback.
Excellent feedback. I can't tell you how proud I am of all of our officers and staff and the way they interact with the public and some of our I think they've done a fantastic job. I mean, it's rare that we get a citizen complaint, and a lot of times when we do, they're not sustained because we look at the body cam and there's just no merit to it.
Yes.
So I feel really confident that they're out there acting in a professional manner, and they're a great reflection of the city and the police department. So that's good. We love them.
Yes. Yes. As I was talking at that, and I'm getting off this topic here, we can go on to something else if Chris doesn't show up. But as I was talking about the retention of officers, I didn't find it in my notes, what was the amount paid to get them trained and outfitted that we were losing when they would move to a different district?
$148,000 per.
Holy moly. I said I thought it was in the range of 8,000.
And so I believe that's in the first, I believe it's 16 months, don't quote me on that, it could be 18 months, but that includes their salary roll-up costs, the equipment, the training at the academy, moving through FTAP. It's kind of everything all encompassing before we get them solo out on the street, where we actually are getting a return on our investment, where they're filling a solo shift. So it's
because they have to ride along until they're trained. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Did you say 140,000?
148,000.
Who did I ask?
You were only off by 140,000.
Oh, that's all.
Pennies.
I got the 8,000 part, yeah. Okay, and then, let me see. You are still being paid less than area policing organizations? And we are trying to help with that? Is that what we're doing through negotiations of some sort?
Yeah, and so I think to bring a little bit of background on that. One of the things, so I started here almost 22 years ago, and we had some officers would leave, and a lot of times there's a couple different reasons they leave, right? So some of it's for money, right, for benefits. Some of it is because they're moving or they have a connection to another area, and that's where they're trying to get to. And then other times they're looking for maybe advancement or upward mobility if there's a program that's not being offered here in our police department. Like if you want to be, a SWAT team member or or something like that, or you want to, end up working for, state police they used to have an aircraft program. Well, we can't offer those things, right? So if that is truly your goal, then first step is to get certified and then move on to an agency that offers those sorts of things. However, I will say in the beginning, early on in my career, we were very close to Benton County, and that was our closest competitor, being that they're only 6 or 7 miles away. And they obviously cover a little bit larger territory, but their call load is very similar to ours with regards to how many deputies and supervisors they have on per shift versus how many we have on and how many calls we take. And so we weren't seeing a lot of people move to Benton County or leave Philomath to go to Benton County. And then at some point, that discrepancy between our benefits packages grew. And so it was significant enough that we started seeing multiple of our officers leave and go to Benton County. And to speak to the quality of officers that left, almost all of them have been promoted to supervisors. I think there's 3 of their sergeants are at Benton County came from Philomath, and one of the sergeants at Corvallis came from Philomath.
Wow.
So, definitely high quality.
We've trained them well.
Which,
Like that, though.
and part of it makes me really proud, right?
Yeah, no,
Like
that's that double-edged sword, right? And the fire department had the same thing, that for a very long time, we had a pretty terrific turnover because we trained them well and they've advanced in other departments, which is a good thing. And it's taken years to basically kind of come to parity now with some of the neighboring departments of the same size and same call volumes and things like that. It just takes time.
You probably experience the compounding effect that you see when you start losing highly trained quality people that have upper level certifications and experience as well, where when you're trying to retrain new staff, you lose a component, some of that depth, right? And that makes it really difficult as well, because not only are they a police officer that can go out and fill a shift and also have experience to handle more complex issues, but some of them also carry upper level certifications where they're instructors in certain disciplines. And so when you start losing those as well, then now in order to provide that training, you have to go outside of your department to do that. And I think it compounds the problem even further when a lot of times we have such a good working relationship with Benton County. We have their instructors coming in-house to teach our guys. And one of the unintended consequences of that is, oh, wow, if I go work there, I could be an instructor like him for this discipline. And so if you remember, in last year's strategic plan, that was one of the things that we increased the training budget for, was to do instructor development. So we were developing instructors in core disciplines within our department to handle that, so we weren't having to go outside. I think that increases morale, and it does a number of really good things for our department. And
the good part of that is, from when I started the fire department, my first 5 years, we had 3 basic line staff, 3 firefighters on 24-hour shifts. And in the 5 years, we had a turnover basically of 6 people, 6. So that means twice.
Yeah.
We basically turned over
Completely
staff.
over,
Yep. But we actually had one person that remained through that whole time, so it's even more so, right, from that standpoint. And in the last 5 years, with 6 personnel, we've had 0. No turnover.
it's amazing.
That's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Because
That's what we're
people
supposed to
now,
be.
you know what I mean? Once you sort of get to that place where you've got the training and you've got the pay, honestly, and the benefits and things like that, people want to stay. This is a great place to work. It really is. So,
My
I think,
understanding,
yeah, anyway, that's fine.
is that it's hard to find a house to live here, though.
Well,
The
there
cost,
is
and
that.
they're starting out as
Yeah.
and is it about 49,000? I looked up, is a starting salary for police officers here?
I believe it's slightly higher than that.
Yeah.
I don't have the exact number with me to quote it.
Benton County ranged from like 67 to 102, something like that, depending on experience. So can you speak? I didn't, this all came from Saturdays and all the questions, so I didn't, you may not be prepared to tell me how much the salary difference is from here to Benton County to Corvallis.
The last number I heard was about 14% to Benton County. And then it's significantly more than that at Corvallis.
Okay,
But Corvallis is almost apples and oranges in terms of the call volume and, that kind of stuff.
I think the other thing that you mentioned and that you spoke about earlier when, with the coffee with the counselor is, it's one of the things that I think our officers really like, and that's part of our culture here, is that the support of the community. I can't tell you how many times, we'll go to La Raquita or one of the local restaurants and we get members of the community coming up to, thank us for our service and things like that. So the officers do appreciate that. It's nice to have that support. Not everybody's fortunate enough to have a community like that. And so I feel like we're really fortunate there. And that's one of the other key components to keeping and retaining people is the culture within your department. I feel like over the last 10 years, we've done about as much as we can with culture, and now it's time we need to focus on benefits and those sorts of things.
Madam Chair, may I make a recommendation? While we wait for Chris, could we go to the second item? I'm a bit of a timekeeper, and I know I'm that annoying person. It's only a recommendation. You are the chair.
We're meeting next week. So there really hasn't been an update because we had a previous meeting that was scheduled that was rescheduled.
Yes.
Next week. So we haven't officially kind of gotten on, other than one virtual meeting so far. Anyway.
okay. So let's go on to accreditation update.
All right, so we are I've been working hard on accreditation for the final touches on that for about the last month and a half or so. There's about 281 proofs that I have to go in. It ranges from our policies. There's certain proofs that are within our policies. I have to highlight those. Additionally, I need to show proofs of compliance based on police reports and police activity that shows that we're following our policy and the best practices in state and federal laws, and then also the Northwest Accreditation Alliance standards. So it's a heavy lift. We're being graded over a 3-year period that started in 2023, 2024, and then 2025. And so I'll have our assessor probably out here in June is my hope. Right now I sent the rough draft off to kind of a pre-assessment employee that works for Northwest Accreditation Alliance, and she's reviewing those materials and giving me some feedback on what she's seeing. And so I'm fortunate in that I get kind of a trial run. I've not prepared this all on my own in the past. This has been something that Ken's done, and he was on the board with NWA and continues to serve on the board and also as an assessor. But at any rate, I'm getting my feet underneath me, and it's actually been a really challenging and interesting process to go through. It forces you to look at every single one of your policies in depth and making sure that they match what you're doing, and then also making sure that your training also matches what your policies dictate and also the standards with Northwest Accreditation Alliance. And so it's been a really good learning experience for me. It's been a lot of work, but overall, I'm really pleased with the way things are going. So we should have that assessment done here by the end of June, and then at some point they'll probably come back with their findings, and they usually present those at a council meeting. They usually have somebody come out.
I'm presuming, Chief, that there's some sort of personnel and recertification of their particular level. So when you get a certification of something, there's a recertification of that something every so many years.
Every 3 years.
Every 3 years. Okay, gotcha.
We were first accredited back in 2010, and we've maintained that ever since.
Yeah.
And so,
But that's not as a department, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then your members, so once you're a firefighter 1, for example,
Mm-hmm.
you have to recertify every 2 years and have to do so many continuing education credits and on the practicum and things of that nature in order to recert that, say for EMT, blah, 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 engineer, fire officer. I mean, the longer the list, the more you have to recertify. And I presume that's the same way with your personnel. And that also is factored into the accreditation, right? That if people are maintaining their levels of certification adequately.
You're 100% right. And not only that, but it goes a layer deeper where Northwest Accreditation Alliance says that they mandate certain types of training that we have above and beyond what the state mandates. So DPSST, or the academy who grants our certification, they review that so that every year there are so many hours that you have in certain disciplines of training, and you have to complete that. And then there's a 3-year maintenance phase, which is different depending on what certification, what position position that you hold. So there are some leadership components for supervisors.
Yep.
And then it runs the gamut between firearms, workplace discrimination, all sorts of things. But so Northwest Accreditation Alliance and their standards is even stricter than what DPSST or our academy has for us. And so, like I
So you
said,
meet and exceed.
yes.
Very good.
But wanted to provide you guys with an update on that. Like I said, it's been challenging, but it's been at times it's fun, but I've learned a lot from the process. So I'm very excited about that. It's always fun.
You said it started in 2010. How long has accreditation been around?
That's a great question,
More curiosity, not that.
I would, if I had to guess, it was at one point, it was Oregon Accreditation Alliance. Now it's expanded out to cover Alaska and I think part of Washington, so they had to change.
Oh.
Accreditation
Oh.
Alliance. And so
Okay.
I believe OAA maybe started like right around 99 or 2000.
Okay.
And so then, there's another type of accreditation that some other agencies participate in, and it's CALIA. And I think they've been around even longer yet.
Oh, okay.
I would have thought it would have been going for 50 years. So it's a relatively new thing.
It is. It can be expensive and very consuming. In fact, most larger agencies have a full-time accreditation manager, and that's all they do.
Wow.
So, that's any questions? More questions about accreditation?
Thank you.
Good luck. I think you probably have it all your ducks are in a row, but it does sound very daunting and like a lot of work. And where you find the time, I don't know.
It's one of those things where initially when I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, this is such a big project. I was trying to set aside a month. Okay, when am I going to focus on this? And then I finally decided, you know what, we're just going to start chipping away at it. And before you know it, you just kind of get in a groove and everything just starts clicking. But it is difficult in trying to understand the format, at least initially. And then once you get it going, you just kind of stick with it. And before you know it, you're done.
Good. Staffing update.
All right, so we still have one in backgrounds. We're hoping to have a decision on that here in the next month or so. And that would bring us to fully staffed. So that would give us 10 positions.
I think I've asked 10 positions. That's what we told the person that asked us at the coffee with the counselor.
That's a nice number.
I was
That's a real nice
thinking, I
number.
think it's 10, but does 10 count you?
10 does count me. It would be 10 sworn. And then
Okay.
our other employee would be Katie, our administrative
Yes.
assistant, but she's unsworn. So that would be our
Oh.
10 sworn, okay.
10 sworn, yeah.
Okay, good. The radar sign update.
So we have we've ordered the signs. So that my understanding is the signs, the poles, the whole entire kit, both kits have shown up. So Kevin Fear and Gary Black have been working with ODOT. Early on, I was involved in that conversation. Now it's kind of been turned over to them. They're working on some IGAs and things like that as far as placement and where they're going to be placed and what part of the 25-mile-an-hour zone. And then ODOT also has some restrictions there as well. So they're working through that's kind of the final process. We're working on getting a couple of spec sheets for the poles and the breakaway bases. And so it's really kind of in ODOT's court at this point. How fast can they get the approval and get all of those agreements with the city to where we can get them up. But we're in the final stretch, so that's encouraging. I think a lot of the citizens will like that. Not only that, but it'd be nice to have them up in the summertime. I think we have a lot of out-of-town traffic that's coming to the coast, and they're just unfamiliar with what the speed limit is. It's a new area, and they're excited. They're on vacation.
Unfamiliar.
Yeah, it's not that we don't have plenty of signs. We do.
Yeah.
Be nice.
I noticed there's a radar sign up right now on 13th, right? South 13th?
That sounds right. Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, okay. I noticed that at 1:30 this morning as I was coming in from the Eugene airport.
Driving really
kind
fast.
of-
Were you driving really fast?
Yeah. Well, so looked like they added a 40-mile-an-hour speed sign just on this side of Chapel, just north of Chapel on South 13th. Because that actually there wasn't anything there forever. So at least it slows people down before, because the first thing they'd hit is, by the way, 25. You know, and people, yeah.
From County Road, yeah, it's happened pretty
So
quickly.
Good.
that's nice. Yeah.
The idea that it would be on the west side and the east side, or that's what you're saying, the exact placement is being determined.
Yeah, it is. And so the location that we've proposed for this end of town, or at least the west end of town on Applegate Street it's about the 800 block. And so you'll get past your first set of 25-mile-an-hour signs. And then
Morning.
second set that's where this will also have a 25-mile-an-hour speed sign, and then a sign attached to that says your speed is, and then embedded in that sign is the actual radar readout. So they can set those. They're pretty strict on what they will allow. A lot of
Can't have
times,
flashing things and all that.
typically it's on a state highway, there's some additional requirements where on other city streets that aren't controlled by ODOT, we can get away with the flashing lights and some of the other things, but ODOT says no flashing lights on the state highway. And so it'll probably just be the speed readout, and it'll be it's a large sign. It's a pretty big
Oh, good.
deal. So
I know personally, those work very well for me, because sometimes I didn't realize I was going too fast, so I slow down as soon as I see that. Just this coffee, I keep bringing it up, but Mayor McMorrin was there as well, and he did a very good job, because one citizen wanted to say, well, why don't we have the ticket, the camera? And Mayor McMorrin answered very clearly that the data shows that it's not all that beneficial, that you have to be able to prove stuff in court to be able to ticket the people, and that he didn't think that was the way to go because of all the flaws that have been found. And so it was good.
it also requires additional staff too to review
It
all of
does,
that data. And I think a lot of times where we see those can be somewhat effective in larger cities. It's where it's a component of a traffic program. And so you'll find them.
Red light cameras, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and typically you'll see them like on busy intersections where it's not safe to put a patrol car, where there's such a high volume of traffic and the speed is such that you can't effectively get out or safely get out to work traffic in those areas. And so a lot of times that's a good additional component to have to your traffic program. But a lot of times they're unmarked patrol cars, or they're a motorcycle unit or something like that, and it's part of a traffic team.
Okay, well, we'll look forward to when those are put up and everything happens.
It is interesting on Applegate as you head east. It's 35 longer than you would think. And maybe that's just me, but just kind of coming into town, it feels like that 35 is longer than one would think. And I think some people just keep going. So it seems like the recommended placement would make sense.
Yeah, and on the east end of town, we've looked at an area just east of Dairy Queen on Main Street. So somewhere in about that 1 to 2 block area. And I believe
That makes sense too. Yep.
some mandates by ODOT that this particular sign cannot be the first sign once you have a drop in speed. And so you have to have a traditional speed sign that would announce the 25, and then it can be the secondary or a third or a fourth sign, but it can't be the first one coming in. So there's some other requirements that we're learning about, and then we're working through this with ODOT.
Yeah.
So,
Good. Thank you.
Good. And nuisance property update, are we gonna address that, or?
yeah, and so we've had, over the years, we've had numerous complaints about this one particular property. We've had some difficulty making contact with the owner, just won't answer the door for us. And so we've assigned 2 of our officers that work opposite shifts. They're trying to make contact, and we've come up with kind of a game plan. We've posted some door hangers on there, so he's seeing what we're wanting to talk to him about, is made aware of the violations of the ordinance. And then I met with the city manager, and we've talked about maybe at some point moving to the abatement process. Before we do that, we'll probably try and reach out and send a certified letter, and upon receipt of his receiving that, then we can, after a certain period of time, we can move forward with the abatement, which is essentially to clean up that stuff at the front of the
Right, send
property.
them the bill, presumably.
We would probably lien the property is one of the things that we have the ability to do. But it's going to be a little bit of a process. I'm hoping that we can get a resolution by sometime this summer.
Yeah, there's been communication in writing for the person, if they want to follow the rules, they will call you and set up a meeting.
Yeah,
But if they're not trying to cooperate, then that probably won't work, but at least giving him the benefit of the doubt.
you bet. And he's been noticed, so obviously our officers work 4 on and then 4 off. And so we have tasked officers that work opposite schedules. And so there's plenty of overlap with the time frame. So if he wants to reach out and contact one of the officers that's been assigned to this, there will be one of them working every one of those days. So we've made ourselves available. We've given him plenty of literature on, where he's in violation and given him that notice. Typically, in situations like this, we will try and work to gain compliance. It's not always an enforcement piece. A lot of times it's education. We'll provide them with a copy of the ordinance. We'll point out the things that are in violation of that ordinance and then work with them, give them a certain amount of time and try and determine when they can bring it into compliance. I mean, that's our ultimate goal. It's not to issue citations and levy fines and things like that. And so we do get to a point where if we're not getting that compliance, then we will start issuing citations, but that's not the first phase of the process. And so the judge in the past has been good in working with us and also with folks that have been found in violation of that too. So we're working.
If it is deemed that he's not capable of doing the work himself because of age or health or whatever, are there any workarounds for that? Or is he just expected then to hire somebody?
Well, we've also talked Benton County Health Department as well. So we don't have any ways to help fund something like that, but there might be some resources out there, and that's one of the things.
Organizations and things like that.
That's one of the things that we're exploring. Yeah.
Sorry to be late.
Greetings.
Double book this up.
No worries.
So right, we
I
found
think
out
you're in good hands.
with your TSAP so that there was nothing to really do.
Yeah, I got bumped to June 10th or 11th, somewhere in there. Yeah. All I can report is so that was the meeting I was just in, is with the consultant. So they've kind of narrowed it down to like our top 5 spots, and then they're looking at 3 of those to kind of look at solutions and things. So that should all be ready to go like early next week out to the task force members. Give them a couple weeks to look at it before we get together in June. And then once they've looked at it, given all their input, we'll probably give them another week or 2 to provide comments on it. And then we should have a pretty close to a final document ready to release to folks. So yeah, it'll be good.
Well, I did report that I've talked to 3 or 4 citizens recently, just this week, about the $14, and they wanted, one person said they want it all to go to the police because they want to support our police, and then the others, when they found a portion of it went to the police, they were in favor of it. So that made a difference, and so kudos to the police department for doing such a good job. And is our crime rate down right now? Are there any statistics off the top of your head? That's not fair.
I would say we're right now, our crime rate over the last probably 5 years has been pretty low. I think an all-time low, and it's just kind of sitting right about.
Staying there. We do have crime, and you guys take care of it. But part of the reason we don't have more crime is because you're out on duty, patrolling, and doing your job.
Yeah, and I think at one time, the one little spike that we did notice was at one of our local businesses. There were a lot of shoplifts that were occurring. They invested in a pretty sophisticated video surveillance system, and then also some other technology that has really helped us hold people accountable. And so it's helpful to have. And the word spreads. So when the officers are working those investigations and they're solving them, they're catching those folks and they're holding them accountable. Word spreads that that's no longer the place to go.
Good.
Yeah.
So it definitely does have an impact.
Yes, good. Good. only heard good stuff, so that's very
Thank
encouraging.
you, that's good to hear.
All right. Is there anything else anybody has?
I'll just mention that Coffee with a Cop is next Friday at the bank at 8:30. And I think we're gonna have a pretty good turnout. Make sure you got enough donuts, is all I'm saying. I'm giving you a heads up.
No,
No, but a lot of interest. A lot of people have been scanning the flyer or taking the flyer. So I think people are quite interested. So I think it's gonna be great. And thank you.
of course, thank you for hosting.
You bet.
Yeah, I think we'll probably, I think we'll end up doing 6 dozen.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Yeah, very good.
On Thursday, the 28th, is that not correct?
Oh, what did I? Oh,
You said
shit.
Friday.
Yeah, I think, what have I been telling people? I should have looked at my flyer. I don't have it on my personal calendar. What, do you know? This is bad. This is horrible. I'm announcing it.
Let me double check here.
I think Rich sent out a,
And it's probably on the city website, I think.
Was that?
I think you sent out a notice to us of when it was. Brett,
Did I? No,
one of, it was Brett.
I have it on Thursday, May 28th.
That's it. I'm saying Friday, but yeah, the flyer definitely said, now that I hear Thursday, May 28th. Yep, that's what's on the flyer. Thank you. Thank you.
8:30, good.
30 Thursday.
And, police station, so it's at the bank.
It's at the bank, yeah, in the lobby.
On the 29th, there might be some leftover donuts.
Yeah.
Wouldn't count on it though. We'll see.
Leftover donuts and police activity. No, the same.
No, police officers like donuts so much, don't you? Because they're delicious.
Okay.
Add to another, the dad joke's fantastic.
Okay, go. We need to find the time for our next meeting. That's what I was gonna look at. Summertime is kind of a hard time to find agreeing times. I'm open the first week of August, but then I'm not until the middle of September. We could just wait for September as far as I'm concerned, but I don't know if you all feel, we said every 3 months, which would be August.
I will be gone from basically the 20th of August through the 26th of September. So you guys,
Okay,
there'll be definitely one part where I won't be there.
Have we been doing the third Tuesday?
we have, but I will be gone, that, and he will be gone I'll be gone on the 3rd in August, and he'll be gone the 3rd in September. So, I either propose moving it to the first week of August or the final week of September.
Yeah.
I think all of that is fine for me. Do you need to check anything or,
Open with.
Okay.
Yeah.
but all of those are fine for
We're
me?
doing our job if we give it an extra month.
September's fine. Yeah.
So let's say September 29th at 3 PM.
We had it, you know, if we had a policy we're working on or something like that, we could go more often, but
What day do you come back, Rich?
I come back on the 23rd, so.
Okay, the 29th
so
works.
Tuesday, the 29th is more than fine.
Same time?
Yep.
Same time? Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, with that, I will adjourn the meeting at 3:35.
You?
I don't know if that's,
Official.
oh, I know why Crystal wanted you there.
Oh, that's good.
Oh,